I've been to the Education Academy, I've been to Tax Academy, I've been to Blue States Academy, I've been to a lot of them and I really like them. That's where really you get into the weeds. You know, sometimes you come to a bigger annual meeting and you see what all the policy is, but when you go to the academies, you see who is behind it, why they're behind it, you know, what is the opposition. You really get into the meat and potatoes.
I'm with Barb Gleim, a state representative from Pennsylvania, sort of the country of Pennsylvania in Cumberland. Welcome to the 2026 annual ALEC meeting here in Orlando, Florida. Tell me a little bit about some of the things you've been working on. We talked a little bit earlier, but you have an interesting array of issues that you're concerned about.
Well, with ALEC, I'm on the Education Task Force. I'm also on the Education Committee in Pennsylvania, all 8 years that I've served. And I'm the task force chair. So I receive policy from all over the nation, and we have to vet it in our task force, and then we vote on model policy for the nation. And 2 years ago, one of my model policies was the cell phone bill, which you can imagine kind of went through the whole United States there. People could draw that down, and most states did. Most states have a policy now on cell phone use in schools. So that's the type of thing that ALEC can do, and that we vet in all of these committees.
That's a great issue. I mean, the elimination of cell phones during the school hours. Now, was that met with any opposition besides the students?
Oh yes, it was met with opposition. So the tech task force didn't like it. You can imagine they don't want to take cell phones away from kids. They want them to use them as much as possible. So we had to go back and forth, you know, and collaborate on that issue. And we finally did come to a consensus where my bill just eliminated cell phones during instructional time only, instead of a total ban. Now, a lot of the states have done total bans, and so have private schools as well. But that was my model policy. And it took about 1.5 years to get through.
Perfect example of using ALEC, right?
Yes.
To advance your cause.
Yes, and not only that, but then you could hear what the opposition was going to be ahead of time before you actually really started working on it in your state. So I was ready when the opposition came.
Was in the other task force, right?
That's right.
The technology task force was opposing.
That's right. That's right. So I got to hear it firsthand.
Now, I also noticed that you were a former school board member.
Yes.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Yes.
I mean, compare being a school board member to a state legislator.
Well, I mean, in a way, I think it was kind of easier as a school board member because you only have the one issue. When you're a state legislator, you have every issue. Like, I'm also agriculture. I own a farm with my husband. We grow beef. So you have, you know, every issue under the sun that people bring to you and need fixed. Where in education, when you're on school board, it's mostly just education.
I want to point to your report that you just put out. This is another product placement, the State Education Freedom Act, and this is part of some of the things you've been working on in your task force. It's spreading around the country. A number of states have implemented a education freedom initiative and policy. Tell me about this report.
So I'm going to just plug the director of education here at ALEC is Andrew Handel. He wrote this, but it puts together all of the model policies that we have been working on, and also gives some great data for people to look at and pull down from all the states.
You can download it on alec.org. Now, you mentioned other issues that happen and hit you when you're in the state legislature. One, we talked about being a farmer and the influx of data centers and the need for power for AI.
Yes.
It seems like you can see both sides of the issue. How do you resolve the need for AI and data centers, and then people that want to hang on to the family farm or don't want the electricity drain? How does that? It sounds like you're still going through that.
I am still going through that. In my district in Pennsylvania, I'm getting 16 data centers. We do have local opposition. I, as a state legislator, try not to take a side because it's a local issue. It's the local and the county commissioners and the local supervisors who actually have the vote. I don't have a vote, and I'm trying to represent both sides of the issue. Both sides being, we don't want the data centers, they're ugly, they use too much water, whatever the issue is, and then the other side saying, well, it's freedom, it's property rights, we can sell to whoever we want to, and it's business, it's capitalism. So you have both sides there. States can regulate what happens with the data centers, which we've been looking at those policies and going forward with it. But then from the agricultural side, in Pennsylvania, we don't want too much of our ag land, eaten up, but at the same time, we need the energy from the data centers.
Some of your farming neighbors are deciding that agriculture is enough and it's time to sell?
Yeah, well, some of the actual fights are with people with preserved farmlands who have already preserved them, and we have utilities coming and saying we need to come across your land, and so an eminent domain issue is starting to arise. Which I'm totally against eminent domain.
Anything happening on your property?
Oh, yes.
Oh, jeez.
So we have going on.
This is personal.
So we have issues all across the nation with data centers, but especially in my backyard.
Tell me about the academies that you've been to at ALEC and how beneficial it's been to you.
I've been to the Education Academy, I've been to Tax Academy, I've been to Blue States Academy, I've been to a lot of them, and I really like them. It's where really you get into the weeds. Sometimes you come to a bigger annual meeting and you see what all the policy is, but when you go to the academies, you see who is behind it, why they're behind it, what is the opposition. You really get into the meat and potatoes. So the last one I attended was Education in West Virginia, and we actually had a woman come who was a gymnast in a communist country, and she made a presentation about how she ended up getting to the United States, basically, defecting here, started up her own business because of the freedom to do the things you want to do here in the United States. And she runs a very successful gymnastics company in Florida, actually here. But it's basically the story of freedom and how great the United States is, and how people that want these more socialist policies are wrong.
How much do we hear that from the World Cup athletes that came over?
That's right.
And all their Instagram posts about, oh my goodness, look at this Costco.
Right. The one that I loved was they had a big picture of a gas station, and they said, now this is a gas station.
They don't realize that was a special gas station.
Yes.
They're all like that.
It's fun. So
You're at a very interesting time, being your 8th year as a state legislator. The issue's getting any easier. I mean, this data center agriculture issue has got to be one that is one of your more challenging.
My family has a joke that I got elected and started in 2019, and then COVID hit. So they were sort of like, Barb gets elected, and then COVID hits. So I spent a good 3 years, going through COVID, and it was horrible.
Right.
So to me, when you've been hit with the worst of the worst, we'll work through data centers. It's going to be okay.
I can tell you come with the right energy and the right mindset. You're ready for anything.
I am.
Well, and with Barbara Gleim of Pennsylvania, State Representative, thank you for joining us here at the 2026 ALEC Annual Meeting in Orlando, Florida.